Hi everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Tuesday to you. Let's see here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, seeing kind of best practice, big picture, see what's going on here, of course, and just quickly take a look at some other markets as well. Bitcoin had a slight correction this morning, pretty standard stuff, but also we want to understand why that happened too, right? It's important to understand the why behind things. And if you want to learn more about being a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a website. I do offer a trading academy, community, and signal group, so check that out in your own time. I also offer discounts for military third world countries as well, so feel free to message me direct if you have any questions on that. That being said, here's with Bitcoin and where we're at. So obviously, let's just go ahead and check the obvious. We're below all moving averages, okay? It's not pretty. This descending trend is still continuing, right? So can Bitcoin go lower? The answer is absolutely yes. It certainly can. Should it go lower? I would say hypothetically no, based on this being a strong support level and previous resistance, etc. This whole zone at 19,800 is effectively an area that is it's a well contested price point for Bitcoin. That's just kind of simply put. But if the traditional markets continue to decrease, which is a possibility, then Bitcoin will as well. Okay, and let's talk about that too. Just kind of touching on that here. If we can see S&P. We didn't gap down. In fact, pre-market hours came up, and then as soon as the market opened, it came down, and we're now testing the 50-day set moving average on that. Same with NASDAQ as well. We're also potentially below a key level support, and it's not looking pretty. So when you see anywhere between a 1 or 2% correction on traditional markets, we can see that happen almost exponentially with Bitcoin with a 2 to 3x. Okay, so that's why Bitcoin is correcting itself by 2%, whereas NASDAQ is 1%. Plus or minus, it's again one of those situations there. And then of course the dollar index is kind of drawing dead. We had doji candle here again. So not a lot of information there kind of telling us what's going to happen, but it does tell us why it happened, right? So again, just something to kind of understand. So taking a look at, of course, the support levels here we have for Bitcoin. So first of all, as I mentioned previously, even though the MACD is slowly still diverging, it doesn't mean it's going to converge and essentially just turn itself around. Okay, so even if that were to swing upwards, we're still not in great shape there. So that just still doesn't look great, but it is what it is. It kind of works concurrent with these descending type of trends that we have here. And until we break above them, we have to expect the price action to continue lower. All right, that's just kind of the expectation. With the RSI, we can see 30 did work as a support level, nice little bounce, but that didn't last too long. Now, granted, that can still continue to happen. That will continue to work as a support level. And the likelihood of it breaking below is fairly low. So that's another reason why 20,000 is probably a key level support. But as you average yourself out at this price point, the RSI will start to come up and the price can come down. That's a divergence, so to speak, on the RSI. And that can be potentially problematic. So we'll keep an eye on that too. If the price action continues to go sideways and the RSI comes up, that's not really a good sign. Okay, so we'll take a look at that a little bit later and kind of see what's going on. For now, I would say at this point, not the greatest. The macro looks still fairly ominous. But when we look at the 4 hour, this is what was looking positive yesterday. We saw a rejection right here at this key level resistance. Big surprise, 20,400. So Fibonacci for the win once more, telling us that this is not a level in which we can pass. Thou shall not pass, and we cannot continue any further. All right, so if we take a look here at the MACD, it's starting to diverge now, which is expected when you see a correction of this length. So I would say at this point, not to necessarily try to short your positions, but I do not recommend, I would say, a long at this level, because we still don't know truly which direction it wants to go, right? We don't have confirmation. That's kind of the bottom line. And I try to teach that to my community too, that patience is key. So a lot of times I'll sit on my hands until hopefully the right time. And it's no doubt that you can miss opportunities by doing that, right? Again, as a swing trading type of mentality, you could say, you do miss a lot of opportunities because you're waiting for confirmation. But on the inverse, you're not taking too many trades and you're focusing on quality over quantity, and I think that's more important. Again, it's different strokes for different folks. There's some risk takers out there, and that's perfectly fine. If it fits your risk tolerance, that's all good, But you got to work within your own risk tolerance. That's the key, is to identify what that is and to work with it, and also know how you respond as a person to stress and situations like this, right? So if you're just like that, jump in, jump out, and like you're revenge trading all over the place, you're doing it wrong, right? Easy to say now, I totally get that, but generally speaking, you gotta make sure you have a sound body and a sound mind to be a good trader. I think that's just a good foundation. That being said, final notes here on the 4-hour, this transitionary type of time frame, we're below all moving averages as well. So really there's no positive here that I can see, honestly, except for, well, it'd be reaching at straws if I did that. But when we say this here, we do have a higher low in place here so far. So hypothetically, this is still progress as long as we don't go any lower, right? Again, higher lows are important. That's a helpful transitioning type of tool or something to identify when you are trying to break a trend. That's essentially what you're looking for. So higher lows is important. We're still maintaining that within reason, okay? So let's take a look last here at the cloud, and we could see we had a nice clean break above yesterday. That was looking all well and good, sunshine and rainbows. And then of course we got the instant rejection about 8 hours into 20,400. So the price fiction could not continue. I would say generally when you see Bitcoin kind of plateauing at a specific key level resistance and it spends hours there, almost, just say 8 to 12 hours, it's almost likely going to reverse direction. Like, it just seems to be the case. So, hypothetically, we see another 8 hours here at the support level, the price action should increase, right? Again, it's no guarantees in that, but that's just generally a trend that I've noticed happens with Bitcoin. So again, that's kind of where we're at there in that sense. Last thing to look at here would be TD sequential and see if we had any overexhausted states previously. We only hit a 7, then came up to a 4. We are now down to a 7, so hypothetically we've only got 2 more hours of downside. But again, that's strictly hypothetical. All depends on traditional markets, but it's interesting how this descending trend continues to work itself out, right? So again, it just keeps on hitting these points, and we cannot seem to break through that descending trend. Again, this is the most immediate trend. We have another larger time frame trend too, but generally speaking, at this point, it's not looking fantastic. I'd expect the price at the very best to go sideways for right now. I don't think a strong recovery would make a lot of sense considering how the traditional markets are working. Okay. Now, a lot of times we see some volatility after hours, in the Eastern markets when the traditional markets are closed. So keep that in mind too. A lot of times when the traditional markets close, we have the Eastern markets essentially trying to manipulate the price, for lack of better terms, and push it in a different direction. That's what we saw last night. That's what this pump was here. And the price action continued up overnight. And then, of course, big surprise, traditional markets open and the price corrects itself. So it's kind of this rinse and repeat cycle that we're seeing. And it's very standard, very normal. I'm not surprised by any of this, honestly. So you shouldn't be either by now. And if you are, probably not in the best industry. Cryptocurrency has a tendency of making fools out of everyone. And you want to make sure that you try to, take it in stride and learn from your mistakes. And those are all things we do together as a community. So thanks again to all my current community members for just being an awesome part of my life. Once again, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. If you have any questions, concerns, or thoughts, feel free to reach out to me. I do have contact information down below as well if you'd like to get in touch if you have any questions or just generally want to communicate. I look forward to hearing from you. You have yourself a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you.